The Guided Reading Research Project, an Introduction to Guided Reading by Kamisha Harmon. Understanding Guided Reading. So what is guided reading? Guided reading is a teaching approach designed to help individual readers build an effective system for processing a variety of increasingly challenging texts over time. In guided reading, the teacher provides instruction to a small group of students. The instruction is explicit and direct. Text is easy enough for students to read with the skillful support of the teacher. The text offers challenges and opportunities for problem solving, and teachers choose selections that help students expand their strategies. The purpose of guided reading. So guided reading is used to assist children in learning better fluency, decoding skills, and comprehension skills. Students can understand and enjoy the story because it's accessible to them through their own strategies. Students use problem-solving strategies to figure out words they do not know, to deal with difficult sentence structure, and understand concepts or ideas they have never before encountered in print. So why is guided reading important? Guided reading is important because it provides extra support for struggling readers in a safe setting. It also allows teachers to differentiate their instructions so that they can reteach skills to the struggling reader and introduce new skills to the students who are ready before other students. When are children ready for guided reading? So guided reading should begin when the children start to understand and exhibit a knowledge of the alphabet. They are writing vocabulary of a few high-frequency words, including their name. They show an awareness that reading must make sense. They exhibit some of the early reading behaviors such as directionality, one-to-one matching, locating known words, and locating unknown words. They show an interest in learning to read, and they can generate ideas related to the class discussion. So how do teachers match books to readers for guided reading lessons? The teacher selects a text for a small group of students who are similar in their reading behaviors. The teacher should choose guided reading program books for students that match their knowledge base, that are interesting to the students, help the students to take the next step in learning to read, and offer just enough challenge to support learning to read while still supporting fluency and meaning. So leveled books and determining levels. Level reading is where teachers use various assessment tools to determine how well a child reads. They then match the child to the books that are challenging enough for her to make progress. Types of assessment tools that allow teachers to determine how well a child read include the guided reading level, or the GRL, the developmental reading assessment, or the DRA, and lexical measures. So during the GRL is where the child will sit one-on-one with their teacher and read from a benchmark book. The teacher may ask the child questions and to retell the story. The teacher uses a reading record to calculate any oral mistakes and to help determine a suitable guided reading level for the child. During the DRA, developmental reading assessment, the child will read a benchmark book to the teacher and retell the story. The teacher then scores the child on a range of skills such as accuracy of reading, comprehension, and fluency. And then there's lexical measures, the measure of how difficult a text is or a student's reading ability level. Taking examples would be taking a school administered scholastic reading inventory assessment, or taking a standardized leveled reading test that converts the results to a lexical measure. So the procedure for implementing a guided reading lesson. All right, so first the teacher works with a small group of students with similar needs. The teacher provides introductions to the text that support children's later attempts at problem solving. Each student reads the whole text or a unified part of the text. Readers figure out new words while reading for meaning. The teacher prompts, encourages, and confirms students' attempts at problem solving. That's supposed to be there. The teacher and student engage in meaningful conversations about what they are reading, and the teacher and student revisit the text to demonstrate and use a range of comprehension strategies. Organizing the guided reading classroom. So how many students should be in a guided reading group, and how long should this lesson be? Well, so guided reading groups usually consist of 3 to 4 students, but they can have between 4 to 6, and I would think that would be for larger, older students, older grade levels, maybe like first, second, third, and on up. But 3 to 4 students, sometimes 4 to 6. So guided reading should take place every day for 15 minutes per group. For the lowest readers, it may be beneficial to work with them every day. Mid-level readers, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, and high-level readers, once a week. Lessons can last as long as 30 minutes, but for younger children, maybe in kindergarten, I would only do 15 minutes just so they can be able to sit there for during that time frame and concentrate and not get distracted. So I would do 15 minutes for lower grade levels, kindergarten, and pre-K if the child is ready. So how do you determine who is in what group? In other words, what type of assessment can be used to determine the members of each group? Groups are based on students' needs, skill, and level of reading. Running records, print tests, and teacher observations are good ways to determine where the child needs to be and what group he or she needs to be in as well. The GRL is an assessment that can also be used to determine where the child needs to be. And then the developmental reading assessment, DRA, can also be used to place the child in a reading group and choose level books that are appropriate for the child. And then Lexile measures as well can help teachers to select the appropriate group or book for children. So how do you know when to regroup or to move individual students to other groups? So observations and running records can provide valuable information for teachers in determining whether students need to be regrouped based on change in their needs. As the strengths and needs of the group member change, then the groups should change as well. So that is a good way to determine when it is time to regroup. Pay attention to their needs, pay attention to change and growth to see whether or not that child needs to remain in a group or remain on a particular set instruction or be put in a different group. In terms of scheduling guided reading lessons, how do you organize your literacy block? In other words, how much time is allotted for guided reading as a whole, and what do the other students do while you are teaching guided reading groups? As a whole, guided reading can be done for 45 minutes a day, and that'll be like maybe three groups per day if you're doing 15 minutes. So during guided reading time, children not participating in guided reading activities go to their centers and complete activities that are present in that center for the day. And here are some pictures of just children interacting and completing activities in the center that they are in for that day. So analyzing and reflecting on your learning experience. Question 1. How has this assignment expanded your understanding of how to differentiate reading instruction for the various readers in your kindergarten class? Okay, so I'll say, I currently teach pre-K, but I feel like this assignment has helped me to understand how to match books to a particular group of children in guided reading sessions based on their reading level. It has helped me to understand how instruction may vary for some children. Some children may be ready for more advanced reading, while others may need more time on a lesson. I really like how guided reading allows every child to get the individual reading instruction they need within a small group. This assignment has encouraged me to plan small group times that allow me to work with 3 to 4 children at a time who have similar needs and interests. What question do you have about guided reading that was not answered in your research? So after reading the articles and web pages and viewing videos, I believe I gained a lot of in-depth information about guided reading. The only question I have is, when should guided reading begin in the school year? Does the teacher teach and assess, then establish small groups for guided reading? So that's one of the questions. It's just like when the year starts, exactly when should that guided reading take place? I know the teacher needs time to assess and see what the child's needs and strengths are. So does it just start once the teacher sees that this child is ready? Yeah, that would be my only question. So in what ways will you be able to increase your understanding of how to implement guided reading? In other words, what kind of materials, resources, workshops, seminars, organizations, conferences, or local experience are available to you? I believe I can increase my understanding of how to implement guided reading by completing more research online and observing guided reading implemented in classroom via YouTube. I found that there are guided reading webinars available to help enhance my understanding of how to implement guided reading in the classroom. One webinar I found is based on the Fountains and Pinnell Professional Book Guided Reading 2nd Edition, Responsive Teaching Across the Grades. However, the webinar has a fee of $200 per person. So I think it can get expensive. So once I'm ready to actually participate in those types of webinars, I think it will really be worth the fee. But meanwhile, I think, continue to research online, and there are also books available that explain how to use guided reading and why it is an effective method of teaching. So that may also be another good option for me. And there are many resources available. But for now, I will continue to research guided reading online to enhance my understanding of this instruction method. And just alone, I think this assignment has really gave me a great understanding of guided reading. And so I think as far as in my pre-K classroom, it is towards the end of the year, and I do have children who know all of their alphabets, know all of the alphabet sounds, so they're now working on blended sounds. So I think I could kind of set up groups for the children who are, they're showing readiness to learn words through blended sounds, and, just kind of work with them. But this whole activity has given me a lot of information and ideas that I can incorporate into my classroom and my lesson planning. And these are my references. And thank you. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.